Hello and welcome to ET Auto Startup Adda, Station for Innovation. This is the show that brings future business leaders or the innovators who are trying
Hello and
to.
welcome to ET Auto Startup Adda, Station for Innovation. This is the show that brings.
Sorry for the glitch. So this is the show where we try to bring in all the future entrepreneurs or those startup founders who are trying to build the future of mobility or those who are trying to be part of the future of mobility and what are their idea. This is an ideal place where you can, if you are looking at a startup or do you want to start off in the mobility space, then you can get a lot of ideas from here, and you will also understand how to start off and what are the key challenges these startup founders are facing, and how much the potential these startup founders idea have. That will be evaluated by the expert that we have in every episode. Today episode we have expert Ashim Sharma. He is partner and group head business performance automotive at Nomura Research, and the founder for this episode, or the startup founder for this episode, is Amit Das. He is the one of the founders of Electric One Mobility. This is a company that is trying to build a multi-brand electric vehicle retailing business. Thank you so much, Amit, for taking out time and joining us at ET Auto Startup Adda. Let's start with you. Please give us a sense. What are you trying to do, and what are your challenges? What kind of opportunity do you see in multi-brand electric vehicle retailing business? Because in the business, we do not see much of a success or much of examples we do not have in ICE business where we have multi-brand vehicle sales. So how do you see this?
Thanks, Nabil. Thanks for your platform for giving opportunities to us, and it's a really good forum. I've been following your show a lot, and thanks, Ashin, for joining us as an expert. See, from my perspective, I've been into startups. Since 2008, when first company we had four founders. I was a founding team member, and then it got scaled up to 120 team members and few rounds of funding before getting acquired by an US company. And then I worked with an MNC, and believe me, it was hell of
Can
a
you for the viewers' interest, can you tell the name of your first startup that you sold off?
I was one of the team members, and in the founding team. The company's name was CoCubes.com. It was basically a SaaS model, and it was basically connecting colleges and companies under one roof. So we started off in an apartment, and then it gradually scaled up, to a good presence pan India, and it got acquired by an US company. And after 4 years, when I joined a multinational company, it was a very bad experience because startup is more about fun, is more about being engaged, and more about extremely cross-functional activities. And post that, I worked with a few more MNCs. I started one more company which was not very successful, which was a broadcasting app, and I then started working with Mercer. I worked there for a period of 4 years, and I was to and fro with, I was very fascinated with the German economy because in Germany, the mobility business was more stable. It was more about charging infrastructure there back in Germany, which helped, ecosystem to grow. And when I came back to India, in the year 2016, I was thinking of why not, build something for Indian ecosystem. It took me almost 3 more years to come to a model, which is retailing model, which we are doing right now. And the primary reason of retailing model is to ensure that the ROI for an end user is more. ROI for a partner or investor who ends up opening dealership is high, and also a good uniform and democratic platform for OEMs and manufacturers to broadcast their product. And the main reason being that the ecosystem is maturing, and we could not clearly differentiate between a good product and a bad product. And that's where this forum comes in play, wherein we as Electric One have a standardized model, look and feel. We have 82 franchise stores pan India. We are a pan India company, and we have partnered with more than 15 companies. And this is a model where we are working with. And idea is to grow from here in a more organic format to 1,000 stores and build a virtual dealership, so that as a consumer, I should be more aware about an EV. It's not about buying an EV. It's more making them more aware about the EV. and that's where we are focusing more.
Okay. So what were the key questions that you were trying to solve when you were setting up this multi-brand retailing business? How easy it was to bring multiple OEMs at one outlet? Because this could be a challenge for OEMs because they're exposing their customers to multiple brands at one place. So suppose somebody is buying Ether, he is also exposed to Hero Motocorp. So somebody is looking at a lower cost, then probably would opt for another brand which is lesser brand. So which are the brands that has come on board? Are these the big ones also there?
See, mobility, two-wheeler mobility, comes at a very cheap price, 1 lakh, less than 1 lakh rupees. If we talk about a mass segment, the mass segment is very, very unique in India. Mass segment is more about mobility, saving money, and that's where we as a company have focused more on the mass segment. We're not in the niche segment of focusing on, more than 1 lakh rupees or 1.5 lakh rupees vehicles as of now. So that's where Electric One has a foray of products from 45,000 rupees to 1 lakh rupees, which will cater to a larger audience, and it's more affordable means of mobility for them. Uh, there are multiple OEMs, tier two OEMs. I'll not say tier one OEMs, but tier one OEMs have their own, range of network and their own way of thinking. At the same time, the companies which are young, which are energetic, which have come up in the last 4 or 5 years, have partnered with us. To name a few, there are companies like Kinetic Green, Lectrix from SAR Group. I'll say BattRE, it's a young startup company. We have LML Electric, who have partnered with us. And then there are, Mayuri in the e-rickshaw segment, Go Zero, Hero Lectro in the cycle segment. So there are multiple, different set of companies who have partnered with us. And see, India is huge in terms of distribution. If you see, it's huge. So I'll say, for a company to open a store, and give an ROI, and with no clear winning product, that's the main point. In IC engine and petrol engines, we have Honda Activa, let's say, it sells a lot. In Suzuki, you have Bugman, it sells a lot. But
So you basically are saying that your range includes the tier two companies, which are the which are selling lower speed plus high speed vehicles, but not beyond 1 lakh. So that's
yeah,
your core strategy. We'll take the discussion forward further, but before that, let me invite our expert for the day, Mr. Ashim Sharma. Ashim, over to you. Just want to understand your assessment of Electric One, and then you can ask your questions. Then we'll start the freewheeling discussion forward. I would request the team to bring Ashim on stage on the screen, please.
Thank you, Nabil, and hi, Amit. So
pleasure.
clearly, I think yeah, you've set up a very good model around multi-brand dealerships, and certainly it gives the customer a lot of variety at one point. And as you rightly said, the ROI for the dealer partner also goes up. But at the same time, do you sometimes see a kind of conflict because there are players that have their own channel also, even amongst the pure play EV players. Uh, we see the traditional players also now entering the EV market, and one of the big strengths that they have is this pan India network. They would like to leverage both for sales as well as for after sales. Right? So, given this kind of a setup, do you feel that for a fairly long time it's going to be more about those players which have very little pan India presence that would keep coming to a network like yours till the time that they cannot scale up their own presence? Or do you see that there is something inherent in your model that could make this become the norm in the long run? Because I'll just add a rejoinder to that also. You said, for example, there's the Suzuki Berman or there's the Honda Activa. It's a matter of time before you have similar things in EVs as well. So, with that sort of context, how do you see the growth of a multi-brand retail channel?
Absolutely. See, it's a very relevant question. I've been answering this question very often with all my partners, who come to sign with us. See, when we talk about the market right now, it has to be more complementing than contradicting. The complementation means that it should be one plus one. So what we do with an OEM generally, we keep an exclusivity of 2.5 kilometers, because ultimately with their dealers, with our dealers, and that's how we have been able to ease out the friction of growing market in the last 2 years of our operation. That wherever they are opening, will not open 2.5 kilometers. Wherever we are opening, they're not opening 2.5 kilometers, and that's a good enough space for both the partners to survive in this ecosystem. And this is a very smart call. Not many OEMs accept this, but I feel the OEMs who are looking forward to scale, and scale from not only 10% of the factory which they have built. Everybody talks about the factories which they have built, but what's the capacity they're selling? So it's very important for them to penetrate deep in the market, build a good trainable manpower, and a good service stations. And I'll not name the big OEMs. They're also approaching us to set up a service station for them, because they are selling in a D2C model. And how will they serve consumer who are buying in tier 4 cities? And that's what is our strength in tier 3, tier 4 cities. Organized business, a big showroom, which gives a good ambience for a family to buy a scooter. It's a family affair, and a good backup of investors who are investing in this showroom format. We have big formats and middle formats. It's not like a small shop. When I see showrooms of seeing companies in the electric space, I feel very sad, because these showrooms cannot be called a showroom. These are a small shops, selling showrooms, and they may close after maybe 6 to 8 months, because there is no ROI for them, because there is a delay in supply chain, there is lack of spare part availability. Somebody may have changed the job, in the company, or maybe the model is not working for them. This brings very unpredictable atmosphere in the market. We as a company are trying to build good showrooms, good backup, so that as a consumer I feel this showroom is going to stay for long, and if I buy from here, at least my after sales and service will be there. And this brings in confidence in the EV market. So I think it's a very complementing format which we have adopted so far, and we have zeroed down to few select OEMs for this, who have a good bandwidth and scalability to grow. Not everybody will be tier one, and but it's a good middle ecosystem which is there in India. So that's where we wish to flourish more, in those segments.
Understood. So it's clearly defining the geographic area of that. Sort of
Yes.
another question related to that. So we also understand that the data you collect through the CRM, the customer relationship management system, is very valuable data, right? And the dealers collect it. Now, in case it's an OEM's own dealer, all this is freely available to the OEM also to run whatever analytics maybe in terms of different promotional campaigns, in terms of tweaks in the product, financing schemes, all of that. But in your case, now when you are running the dealership, you are sort of getting the leads, you are owning some of this data. So is this all shared back to the OEM, or is this sort of your data and also become sort of your IP in the market? How do you manage this data sharing with the OEM?
So I just, if you elaborate your question a bit, by data sharing, what do you mean?
So more like the customer relationship management system, which has say data on all the inquiries, the leads, the customers who bought, so on and
Sure.
so forth, right? That's with the dealership because you are the one who is representing the company in the market. If you are
We
an
have
OEM on dealer, the OEM has complete access to this data. But
absolutely.
since yours is a multi-brand, so what do you do? Each brand wise, do you share with them or you don't share with them? This becomes your data. How do you manage that?
See, for a company, it's about a single window to sell to, almost 35 states and for 82 dealerships. So we have a comprehensive automated dealer management software of Electric One of our own, you know, which is there with the dealers. So whatever inquiries, walk-ins are there, it's well captured, in the DMS systems,
Right.
and where we, intend to, call them. We have also started using a super bot to call,
Okay.
people within 30 minutes of inquiry, so that they are addressed well. We have used a tool to filter out data, and bring in some more analytics of the people who are buying EV. something which helps a dealer also and a company also to understand the mindset, from various regions. In South, maybe some colors are not working. In Manipur, maybe some bikes are not working because of power. So these all analytics we are trying to capture in our format, to keep on enhancing over a period of years. Okay, we are getting extremely good support from companies, particularly young companies, in giving us leads. They also are giving us good amount of leads, which they generate from the online, social media campaigns, which we forward to our dealers. So, as I told you, it's a complementing association which we have carved out in the last 2 3 years of our interactions with the OEMs, and it's a arena of collaboration because we a startup don't have huge amount of money to burn in customer acquisition. We can give value at a good price. That's where we are. That's where we are focusing more, and we have collaborated with good set of OEMs for this.
Understand. So basically, the DMS data is being cross-shared between you and the company. Understood. Understood. One last question before I hand over back to Nabil also is, so we also see in a dealership, there is one more classic issue. So the more variety you have, the more the number of test drive vehicles you need to keep. Because a customer might say, I want to try this variant of this company, so on and so forth. Right?
Mm.
Now, as your aim is to provide largest amount of variety in one showroom,
Mm.
how do you manage this? Because that means there has to be a large inventory of test drive vehicles. I mean, I was skimming through your website. For example, you have 3 outlets in Gurgaon itself, right? So, do you centrally share this inventory? Do you keep it at every dealership? How are you managing this? Because and this problem could only become more compounded as the variety of vehicles in the dealerships goes up.
See, dealership is all about efforts. It's a push market, not a pull market. So a dealer that has to go out, partner has to go out in the market, do some more campaigns, do some more test drives. In fact, I was in a forum when I asked the audience, how many of you have driven a scooter, a normal scooter, or a motorbike in their lives? 40% of them raised hands. When I asked them, how many of you have driven an electric scooter, only 2 to 3% have raised their hand. That's the difference, as you mentioned. So what we do is we keep an incentive basis the number of sales per brand. So let's say a dealer says to us, that I need a test drive vehicle, demo vehicle. What we do, we say sell 20 and get 40% discount, or sell 40 and get 40% discount from our side. So that's
Of the
how we're
test
able
drive vehicle.
on the test drive vehicle. That's how it's a sales-based incentive. They sell, they get a demo vehicle, and it's good for us also that the model is selling. That's why we are, spending 40%, giving them a discount of 40% of the vehicle cost, and that's how the fleet is increasing in the test drive numbers. Because they also
So
get assured that the model is selling. You know, Otherwise everybody will ask, here I need a demo vehicle without a number of sales being happening actively. So that's the model we are working. Yes,
so
Nabil.
Amit,
So
you do
that
not
means initially, because it's a little bit of chicken and egg also, the sales come and then the test drive vehicle comes. So initially, maybe the dealer is investing then in the test drive vehicle.
I wish the OEMs are more generous to us also.
Okay.
I'll be more generous to our dealers to provide them all set of good, demo vehicles. But it's too thin a margin and too strong competition. I agree. The market is growing, so let's make it more competitive from the dealers aspect also and from the sales aspect also. In
Okay.
going forward, maybe when the company's turnover increases and they have experienced policy, we can negotiate better with the companies based on the volume which we deliver to them per year, and deploy a few demo vehicles at the stores. That's how it can evolve.
So, Amit, I want to understand your business model. You do not own all the stores, right?
We don't own any store. It's a clear franchise model. We have a
So
franchise where
why will they come to you? Why will not directly go? They go to the OEMs. It's not a big task. Any which ways, the new OEMs are open to accepting dealerships, and they are looking for dealership. How important is your role? I really want to understand that because I want to open a multi-brand showroom. I can go to five OEMs and ask them if they can put their vehicle on my store. Why do I need what is that you are providing?
See, in India there are 200 plus companies, in the EV space, and I think 50 of them I'll be rating them as as serious players. In fact, even lesser, and rest of them are importers and assemblers of electric two wheelers. Lately, there have been lots of cases of fire and all in the market because of low grade batteries and lack of technical awareness in the market. What we are saying is that let's say you partner with Electric One, we have a technical team which do grading and analysis of each and every vehicle on the road. Number one. Number two is the multi-brand options, wherein you have to deal with one company, put in a franchise fee, security money, get new space, maybe five space. You need to put in more money for getting more spaces for five companies, different stores, because all of them will want to open different, have their own exclusivity. Okay, and then you have to deal with five companies on one go. For a common man, the ease of business, is not there at all. So we bring in an ease of business of dealing with multiple companies, bringing their best-selling models, basis our analysis, our technical analysis, and assisting them with a digital marketing support as an air cover and service assistance. So they don't have to deal with the companies independently for warranties, or after sales queries. They have to come to us as a common team. So for them, it's a one-stop solution generally, and for a company, it's a big platform for selling their products.
Ashim, what's your thoughts? Because in India, you see already the retailers, automotive retailers are big ones there. They will have very easy way out for such kind of business. So, in such a scenario, a newbie like Electric One, what kind of business potential do you see?
Yeah, so I think definitely for the players that are unable to scale up on their own, it provides a democratic way of reaching to the nooks and corners of the country and also, providing service, right? But as we have seen in India, that one of the USPs of players has been the depth of the network that they have and the expanse of the network that they have in the country. So, that thing is always going to remain that they are going to be players that are going to run their own network. They're also going to be new players that are going to aspire to build their own network because they believe, and rightly so, it becomes a very strong competitive advantage in the Indian marketplace. But I think for players that are unable to scale up on their own, yes, Electric One and similar players do provide an opportunity to reach a pan India network that is there. But it will not be safe for the whole market. It will still be for the smaller players in the market.
So, so, Amit, if suppose
I
yeah,
I beg to differ from Hashim's last because see, even I'll not rate any company as a big or small company as of now, because all the companies are 5 years, 7 years into market, and they are not a legacy company of 20 years, who have been able to build products which are successful. What I'm saying is that when a single star movie is not successful, people foray into OTT and multi-star movie. We have seen cases of a good company, a tier one company who have partnered with us, and their product was not selling, but when they sell in a forum, which has multiple options to compare, the sales have increased a lot. And channel management is a different task altogether. Either you produce or you manage the supply chain and then you sell. These are the two or three different specific zones. We focus and we specialize on the retail part of it. Okay, so I'm not seeing any. I don't have any doubt in future where big players, who want to get into tier three, tier four cities, will not partner with us, particularly with the service support, which is very important at the grounds level, because our each and every store is equipped with a service station, which can service multiple players, not only our players, but it can service all the players available in the market. We're into battery exchange retailing. So anybody after 3 years who want to replace a battery, come to a store and we give them access to good battery, lithium batteries, from various OEMs directly. We have a backend supply chain of motor power controller, so this is what brings confidence into table. So when we bring this confidence and we can even support the bigger OEMs, I don't see any possibility of not they not being coming to us. Second, what is the capacity which they are, what we expect to explode in the market? I'm not seeing more than 30% of the vehicles, more than 30 being electric in the next 2 3 years or 4 years. And in the 2 3 years and 4 years, how much percentage of the production capacity is being utilized? You know, so they have to sell their vehicles, and if they focus only on their channel, I fear that the competition is too intense, and for them to bring out a very carved, very unique product which is unique for each and every audience segment. So it has it. So I'll say some of the bigger companies who have their own channel are already partnered with us. They have their own channel of 300 plus dealerships, and we have found a very complementing formula, like I told you, 2.5 kilometers. To be specific in terms of they're not opening stores with us. Some of the bigger players are already in talks with us because channel building is also a risk. Okay, and for a investor to invest in any brand, there are lots of confusion in the mind. Whether this brand will grow, how are the supply chains, whether I'll get supply on time, X Y Z reason. So I'm also seeing the other side of the market wherein people say, okay, I'll not partner with one company, but I'll partner with a multi-brand player, and we have a national presence, and we receive so many inquiries from investors, and this shows there's a strength in the market, in terms of multi-brand options, because the risk factors are diversified a lot when they deal with electric one compared to any one or two, three single brand models. So that's what is my analysis, which we have learned in the last few years. But obviously, we have to see how the market grows from here.
So, how much you have invested so far in this, Amit?
See, our top line last year we did close to 30 crores in terms of top line. We have opened in 2 years. We are bootstrapped completely. We are four founders. I'm the founder, and then we have co-founders from Germany. Mr. Guido Quill, he is a professional of tech transfer from Germany to other parts of the world. Mr. Dheeraj Tripathi, an veteran in the automobile space. He has been with Bajaj and TVS and Mahindra, handling the business development part of it. And one of my third co-founders is from homologation and quality, working with the big brands and taking care of the quality and homologation parameters. So very specifically, we bring in startup, technology, business development, and international plan, exposure into table. In terms of scaling up, we have scaled almost 15 times from first year to this year. Our first year revenue was close to 2 crores, and this year is almost close to 30 CR. So we have increased to that extent. This year we are eyeing around 100 CR top line by the end of this year, which is December. And the simple plan is to open 8 to 10 dealerships per month, good dealerships with good backup, and making them profitable from a longer run, so that they are able to sell at least 30 40 vehicles per month. That's the aim. And yes, we are getting some good OEMs also. We have the largest fleet of high speed models. As we speak, we have six high speed model, which is bigger than Hero, which is bigger than Okinawa, which is bigger than Ampere, and which is bigger than Pure EV. And this is the biggest fleet of high speed model with electric one umbrella, which we bring into table. And really, we don't care about whether the brand is big or small. We care about the intent of the founders, how much capital they are investing, the battery quality, and the quality parameters. Okay, and unless and until the volume is so high, like 30, 40 lakh per brand, the molds will be outsourced from other countries. The motor has to come from other countries. The controller has to come from other countries. So it's all boils down to right testing parameters for any company. And when we do it jointly, because we have so much data around which vehicle is selling, what are the problems, what are the common errors in the market, what are the ground clearance, parameters, how the seat should be like. There's so much data, which we analyze and we pass on to our partners, that eventually they will also grow. And when they
Ashim,
grow,
I'll just come to you and understand. Ashim,
Yes.
Amit mentioned that single brand outlets also exist for some of these OEMs, and they are also into multi-brand. So, don't you think it will be challenge for the OEM to convince at this earlier stage when there is no guarantee that everything is not very clear in terms of growth or how the brand will go up and all? In such a scenario, creating a competition for your sole brand or outlets to a multi-brand, how will it work out?
Yes. So clearly, I think, yeah, as you also mentioned, so while the OEM is still small, it would make sense. Definitely. When I say small, I mean when they still have low sales. Definitely, this is an easy outlet to go for a multi-brand leadership and then be able to reach multiple cities, multiple areas in the country. As you scale up, now there would be two questions that come here. One is, okay, this is working and I can continue with it. Second is, as we know, the sales experience is an extension of the brand. When you have your own sales experience, for example, you have very specific things in the dealership, you want to create it in a particular manner, you want to have a particular way of dealing with the customer, then you have much greater control if you are a single brand kind of dealership. uh, what could happen and in the future is also that we have sort of dealerships within dealerships, even in multi-brand. So there are designated areas for a brand which have, a particular sort of ambience around them. They follow a particular set of methods. The salespersons are probably trained in conjunction with the OEM's training team, and then they are able to sell this. So that kind of a thing I do see. So more like a hybrid model that might come in the future. The only place where I do see a cause of concern coming in this, and well, Amit clearly rightly said that there's a lot of data which can be shared back with the OEM, and why something is selling, what is good about it, and all. I think at some point in time, the ones who are selling better would also want sort of a secrecy around this data, because it's also their core competence. So that time, it is a trade-off. Do I invest in my own channel? One, from the sales experience perspective. Second is this data secrecy perspective. Or do I keep going with the status quo, that is a multi-brand dealership, because it's ringing in the numbers? So I think that kind of question will also come into the minds of the OEMs at some point in time later, once they scale up.
Absolutely. So you're right, Ashim. See, one is shop-in-shop concept, hybrid model, which is already operational in Latin American countries and maybe European countries, because the volume is not so high, and people don't have time to foray into multiple stores to explore various options. So shop-in-shop concept is definitely one of the hybrid models which is there in the mind. In terms of date secrecy, everything is on the cards. When you go to a factory of a showroom of a company, you'll find 5, 6 other models there already parked. It's a very competitive world, so it's audience feedback which is very important. When you see Sony's and Samsung's and Panasonic's in the consumer durables selling under one roof, and you don't go to Sony exclusive showrooms to buy Sony anymore. You go to Vijay Sales or Chroma, just to explore the overall experience, and this is called a buying pattern, in our terms, that the behavior and the buying pattern is evolving, and it is going to evolve further going forward if it is augmented better, artificial intelligence, virtual dealerships, and metaverse. And these are the few things which we wish to foray, so that the overall experience and the buying pattern is well aligned for him to get a better vehicle, whether he's buying from Electric One or he's buying from any other store. It all complements the entire ecosystem, because we think that India is a huge country in terms of two-wheeler adoption. It will continue to remain same, and that's where there's a market for every model. The market for single brand dealership, if they're able to foray well into sales experience at the ground level with the scale, and that is something which they have to understand how much scale they are expecting, and whether they're able to balance the scale, production, supply chain, and experience all together clubbed, or
Yeah.
they are working with a very specific company like us, which has a standard look and feel, which has a service station, which has a specific format of hybrid training, which will cover some subset of what they want to enforce from sales experience perspective, and augmented by a better clarity in terms of an audience coming from Electric One, platform. He's able to see the vehicles from all the angles. He's able to customize the batteries a bit. He's able to put in some more customized options and come to a store, and he's better equipped, to buy a particular product. So I think every product every kind of segments will flourish. We have strong belief that use of technology will enhance the overall experience, and if we are there in the space, from the retail perspective, we are going to be equally or even better than OEMs, the entire network altogether. And that's why you are seeing people from Jammu to Tamil Nadu to Gujarat, Bhubaneswar to Manipur signing with us, in India. It's a huge confidence boosting for us that we are not a regional player.
Amit, Amit, I just want to understand across your network, the product lineup will be same, or the individual store owners can decide that which one I want to have, which one I don't want to have.
Yeah, see, I think what we do is that yes, there is some inputs which we take from South Indian store. For example, in South India, black color don't sell at all. So at least the color filtration happens. In West Bengal, maybe yellow sells a lot. In Punjab, white sells a lot. So at least the basic color filtration happens. Then comes the slope, gradability. Whether the terrain is
No, I'm
slopey
talking
or
about brand. I don't want to have a XYZ brand. So is it necessary that you will push all 10 brands if you have
no.
tied up with 10
Not necessary.
OEMs?
At least we don't push so many brands because we don't want to cannibalize the brands also. We put 3 to 4 brands per store. Let's say in Kerala, let's say we'll put 3 to 4 brands, and then we also see the local sentiments. Let's say high speed or low speed, which are the models which are already there. Example: a company called BattRE, already there in South, sells a lot, and our dealer in Tirunelveli was willing to have BattRE, and then we spoke to companies, and after some negotiations, we
So
are able to.
how do you convince a OEM whose brand you are not making it populated in across stores? So what is the criteria?
OEM sales is the only parameter. OEMs are under pressure to sell their stock, and there's a competition from the market also. And that's where we say, your store is almost 9 kilometers far away. Don't give away the cities like it's your own city. Uh, Please bring in more vehicles on the road. And this is one of the stores. And OEMs are also giving us LOIs from the high speeds. Our stores are mentioned on the website of companies directly as Electric One exclusive stores. So for them, they're also clearly demarcated. They're also clearly demarcated between their stores, Electric One stores, and the difference between those stores. We have a bi-weekly meetings with all the OEMs, to align that at a ground level there's no conflict. So engineers from companies also come to our stores. We also go to some of the stores. Sometimes
And
companies
those
may
who are
say,
opening up these stores, those who are joining with you, are among these stores owned by the traditional dealership owners, or they are all new people, or the traditional ones are also expanding into this? What is
initially
the
we are
ratio?
Yeah, initially we signed up a non-traditional dealer, signed up almost tens of them who are first time coming into EV space. Gradually, it evolved to a business family coming to us in terms of diversifying their businesses. And now we are seeing automobile guys coming to us, TVS dealers, Honda main dealers, signing with Electric One. So they already have a store of maybe Honda. They are additionally creating another store of
How
Electric
many
One.
such dealers have joined in your network so
I'll
far?
say around 7 to 8 out of 82. Seven
Seven
to
to
eight
eight
dealers.
out of
Say 82.
80.
82.
82.
Yes.
So around 8%, 10%, that's what you have right now. You
Yes.
said that
Yes.
you will have 1,000 stores. So it will again be not owned by you, only you will enable, you will provide them as a franchisee. And when do you expect these 1,000 stores to come up?
See, this year we plan to scale up to 250 stores from 82. And we next year we wish to open some experience stores also in all the major capital that will be owned by us, Electric One, and that will be supported by some technology, enablement. 1,000
So in
stores
the
we are
second phase, you will have your owned stores. So
experience store.
for that, you
Experience.
would need a lot of investment. So how much investment and where are you going to get those funds?
See, we are a bootstrap company where we have a team of 35 team members, and we have a burn rate of almost close to 30 lakhs. At the same time, we have an ambition to sell 2,000 vehicles per month and set up 10 dealership per month. Now, in terms of experience stores, these experience stores will only complement an existing pool of stores across. Let's say I open a store in Patna, okay, an experience store which has all the vehicles, and these stores, these vehicles will be then a good ground for new people who have joined us or somebody who is willing to join us to see, to experience Okay, and automatically the flow of fund will come from us, being a hub, and they being a spoke model. But that is something which we have not. It's a capital intensive business. I understand that, and that's where we are also seeing whether to move completely to an experience store or a hybrid model of tech and experience stores. Okay, so we're not clear in that path, to be honest with you, but we are clear that 250 stores this year and virtual dealership model next year, and scaling up to a level wherein experience stores comes in play. So that if somebody has to sign up with Electric One, they don't have to come to a head office and see 7, 8 vehicles. They should go to the nearest experience store. A consumer can go to a nearest experience store, and this experience store can help him understand the entire dynamics of how the battery works, how the scooter works,
So
which are the
in case you start the virtual showroom, okay, so those your dealer partners, are you those sales which happens virtually at your virtual platform? Are you going to give some share of the profit to the dealership, or it is not? It is going to be completely with you, because that is again you are cutting to the share of the dealers. They will give the experience. They will probably make the delivery, or you will hold the inventory also. You will arrange the delivery also, or service. Like for service also, they'll go to those physical dealership. So how are you going to, fix this one, the conflict of business between the two?
No, see, the intention of Experience Store is not to do business, but to create an awareness and experience around EVs, and generate leads, which will be again passed on to our dealers so that they are more profitable. So our business model is simple. If our dealers make money, we make money because we have a very thin margin and they have a good margin. So it's all about the volumes. So this can augment in certain way. We're not thinking of making this, it has to be sustainable for sure, but it has to pass on all the benefits to end dealer, and we have to complement their existence. So that's the intent, and how we support them technically is something which needs investment, and that's where our next investment rounds, which we are trying to raise, will focus on creating a tech platform to increase the experience of an end consumer, to buy a product, and how these can convert to better leads, refine leads, and test drive to a end dealer so that he sells more.
Just want to clarify once again. So Electric One will have physical dealers also owned by themselves, or no? Only virtual experience
See,
centers.
see, we will have only experience centers and supported by virtual dealership. We'll not tell that we will be owning our dealership. No, we'll be opening up experience centers to support the overall
That
experience
will
and
be a
support.
physical experience center. So what would be
Yes,
the percentage? But sales will not be done there.
it's only experience center and creating virtual leads. Creating more leads for the end leaders. And the percentage will be very less. I think we are eyeing around 8 experience centers across India compared to 1,000 stores. That's very less a number.
So you have already defined your product lineup, that kind of lineup you will have. But these products will have major demand from tier three or rural or small towns and cities. So do you have any defined strategy for that also, that you will not be largely into metropolitan, but you will focus on smaller towns and cities or tier two, tier three areas?
It's not defined. We have a store in Bangalore, we have a store in Pune, we have a store in
Hmm.
Trichy, Tirunelveli also, and Sikar also, and in Sultanpur and Ghazipur also, Noida also, and also Meerut also. So it's pretty much diverse because we believe there's a segment in each and every city which needs scooters, and that can vary in terms of percentage, in terms of demographics. But I think we are not biased towards any particular segment. Yes, in metro cities, the demand for scooters are of different kinds. Obviously, it has to be more stylish. It has to be more, connectivity should be there with the mobile phones, AI enablement. In rural areas,
Are
it has
you
to be more.
Are you looking to raise funds, and have you gone to some of the investors, and what has been the questions from them? What are you finding difficult to answer, or what is convincing them to put in money?
Yeah, we have been in almost mid talks with almost two of the firms. One of them approached themselves. They are into retail, big time retail, and for them it's a clear extension of expanding their retail to a electric retail business. Then reinventing the wheel again, what we have done, and building a brand is tough.
So they
If
are
you
a
have a
traditional automobile dealers, those who have the big
yes,
dealers. They have reached out.
yes, yeah, and for them it's a clear diversification. Second is a very good fund, which is more about getting into EV. They don't want to fund somebody who produces scooters or somebody who produces cars. They want to fund the retail business of EV, and we're in talks with them. These are two positive talks which we are having as of now. We have not explored other modes of funding. We're too busy with our own operational and scaling parameters. But we expect, yeah, through this forum, if there's a right strategic partnership which can complement our business a lot and help us reach 1,000 stores with good, consumer and tech experience, we'll have to strike conversations with them also.
Ashim, if you look at the business model that Amit just shared, what are the set of challenges and how do you see the scalability in this business? What kind of opportunity do you see?
So, as I said, I think in terms of scalability, the opportunity, because there are many new players entering this market, so clearly that opportunity is there. And these players are highly underpenetrated in many parts of the country, so they would want to piggyback on a network like Amit's and expand across the country. So, definitely that opportunity is there. The biggest challenge, I mean, not the biggest challenge, but maybe a couple of challenges that I see is one, when a player starts getting higher sales, that conflict will come between their own channel versus this channel that is there, because every dealer, as he expands his area, would want to control more of the territory, the cannibalization and all of that, and also a brand wanting to give their very specific sales experience, which cannot come from a multi-brand dealership. The second challenge that might come in is when you have more and more variety, and this variety is also over a period of time. Say there were 5 models that were selling this year, and then there are 10 new models that come next year, which replace maybe 3 of these, so on and so forth. So after 5 years, there may be, say, about 40 models or 50 models that a dealership has sold, which are running in the market. Then keeping sort of spare parts for them, ensuring there is the know-how to service these models and things like that. So those kind of inventory challenges also might come in, because clearly for a multi-brand service setup also, there is a much higher variety than for a single brand setup. So those inventory challenges might also come to the fore. And similarly, the point that I was making to Amit earlier, if you have more and more variety in your showroom, I think that test drive inventory challenge also might come in. I mean, they have sort of a system of incentivizing test drive vehicles and all, but also the upkeep of those vehicles, parking all those vehicles there, and then ensuring that they are in the right state when customers are coming for the test drive. I think those are some challenges which come in any multi-brand setup, because the variety you are dealing with is much more, and that keeps on increasing as the years pass by.
Absolutely. I think actually the first point regarding the model conflict, I think many companies have come to us already and said, then why don't we develop an exclusive model only for electric one chain? That is totally different from their existing channel, because anyway, that is one of the solutions to conflicting evolving model. Maybe 2 3 down the line, we may have exclusive model to sell from a brand, and there's a clear demarcation of the models which may come into play.
Yeah,
Amit,
good.
do you have plan to expand your segment also, or you will remain in two-wheeler and that too in a specific category?
It's too strong an ambition to get into four-wheelers. We are into three-wheelers, but we really want to go into a four-wheeler segment also. But I think we are not in a hurry. We have to consolidate the two-wheeler business strongly, and yes, that's where the focus is. Internationally, we have some aspiration of export to even the tier one companies are in touch and in the final talks to export to African markets and Southeast Asian market, because for them export is a non-conflicting business and electric one can foray into an export market business also.
Okay.
So, and in fact, we're speaking to one of the companies to sell their product not physically but by a very strange iPad, and to book from there, and they will be able to give. So we become a booking channel for them from tier three, tier four cities. Maybe those kind of small innovations may come in play, but everybody is exploring in the market. It's a very curious state of exploring and expanding. exclusive models, supply chains. There are so many vendors who are coming saying कि आप कोई भी motor ले लो, कोई भी controller ले लो for any make. So what we're dependent on after maybe 2-3 years is the plastic parts, nothing else of the vehicle, because the molds are from China or Taiwan or other parts, but other parts are readily available. There are big, good battery companies, good motor companies, controller companies. So that's a different model altogether. Maybe we'll be willing to participate and talk to some companies who want to come into the after sales service in future. A startup who can help us in terms of stabilizing the after sales process after 3 years or 4 years, and how resellable the second-hand market has to grow. After 3 years, the value for EV has to be there. Otherwise, what you will gain after driving 3 years. So these are small and good challenges which every company, every business has. We also have certain challenges, but at least we are disrupting the market in terms of selling more EVs and giving opportunities for people to scale up. If we are a platform for them to scale up, and they come to us with exclusive model, that's okay for us. Why not? Maybe in future.
Oh. Any final comment, Ashim, and then we'll close it.
No, I think definitely, what Amit set out to do. I think it's certainly a welcome move in this industry, and I think seems like there's a strong logic around the whole thing, the way it's scaling up. So yeah, I think all the best, Amit, for what you're doing, and it'll be interesting to
Eh,
see how the expansion happens across the length and breadth of the country.
Thank you so much, Amit, for joining Etioto Startup Adda, a station for innovation. Thank you so much, Ashim, for taking our time. It was lovely understanding the retail network that is going to pan out with the EV. And my best wishes to you, Amit. Hope you do well and achieve your target of 1,000 sooner than you expect. Thank you so much once again, gentlemen, for watching Etioto Startup Adda. See you next week on Tuesday at 3 p.m. with another startup founder and expert. Thank you so much. Till then, take care. Goodbye.
Thank you. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Bye bye.